how is it possible that a few pieces of paper can make you so emotional? It's just crazy. I'm sitting here. I just wanted to turn on the camera and record this video for you about how to make a wave effect in your junk journal within minutes. And I went from this over this over this to this, and I'm really hoping that you can see that this is already somehow nice. Yes, but it's not like bam, not that you think, oh, whoa, what is that? This is way too green. It doesn't really fit to the rest here. I'm so sorry. And then, yeah, by trying and going on and on and on and on, I finally found this here, and this looks really difficult, but it's absolutely easy peasy. And then I started crying. I want to be really honest with you, because this paper collection, this is, by the way, called Raggedy Turtle Bloom. If you're new here, then you perhaps think, what the heck is she doing? This is called Raggedy Turtle Bloom, and it's new in my shop. And I'm working on my journal at the moment, which I want to make from these papers. And with every journal I make, I want to try out new things. I want to grow as a junk journaler. I want to improve my skills. And I want to try new ideas. That's somehow how my brain works, how my whole life is. I want to try new ideas. And now I'm sitting here and I'm asking myself, how is it possible that I get so emotional, especially with this paper collection? Because this is not only a paper collection for me, but it also carries a really huge message, which I want to bring to you. And this is not... it's not constructed. Yeah, I'm trying to say that this is my reality here at the moment, and I'm a little bit, in a positive way, shocked that these things happen here in this moment, because this is a perfect example for what I want to bring to you with this series and with these ideas and with this paper collection, and also with the soundtrack which I made with my dear friend Daniel Evans for this paper collection. If you are new here and you haven't heard about this, and perhaps this is the first video you are watching, then please check out the description box of this video. There I have a playlist for you where you can also find the paper premiere, where I have introduced you to this paper collection and where you have already seen a journal I made with these papers. So this is like a little time travel, because I wanted you to see a journal which you can make from these new papers first, before you see parts of my process of making this journal. So that means you know already way more than I do, because this is what I have here at the moment, and you have seen the paper premiere already, which I will record in a few days when I am at the stage where I have a journal. So if you want to see the journal, go to the playlist and watch the paper premiere. Yeah, there you can also get more information about the paper collection itself. And now I want to try something based on this. So I thought first I want to take this. This is printed on 110 GSM matte photo paper. This is the paper I've also used for the other pages for my journal, so for printing the digital paper collection. And that is, in my eyes, the best paper you could use. Matte photo paper gives you the best results for printing a digital. I have also other pages in here already, which I have chosen to put into the journal and which I want to alternate with the digital papers. So this is basically everything I have at this point of this process. So what I want to try is I want to take some frayed burlap distress paint and a brayer to lighten up this area here a little bit. I'm really, to be honest, I'm really confused that this is so, yeah, extremely matching my thoughts I had when I wrote the lyrics for the soundtrack. So if you're new here, there's a soundtrack, which is also called Raggedy Turtle Bloom, and which tells the story / my thoughts I had when I made this paper collection. And that soundtrack is about two turtles who are meeting each other in a really, yeah, like messy stage of life. And they help each other to find joy again, to also find their selves. And the song is about this phenomenon that sometimes things need to get messy and destroyed, but that you then can also build something new from ruins. And this is just so matching that situation, even if this is not constructed. Yeah, what I did before I started recording the video is obviously what happened here in my reality on my table. It's not a constructed thing. I mean, if you know me, then you know that I always try to stay as authentic as possible. And that is really important for me because, I mean, what is junk journaling? What are we doing here? We want to be our authentic selves. Is that English? Hopefully. And it was always really, really important to me, and it still obviously is, to keep everything as authentic as possible. And that is why it makes me so emotional, because, yeah, this idea came to my mind while I was working on this, and then I thought, okay, let's do that, let's make some waves. And then I went, like the song says, on and on and on, and suddenly I had something where I thought, okay, this is now something which went from a really ugly stage over some ruins, because this is not what I will use in my journal later. This is probably going to become some collage photo or so, but it could also happen that this goes into the trash can, because this doesn't really fit. The colors are totally not what I want to have for my journal. And that is so matching this song that it's nearly a little bit scary. But we will go on, and I will quickly dry this here with my heat tool. We take the page, we put this on here, and then we decide where to tear. So approximately like this. And then we place that like so. And then I wanted to try to also tear somewhere here. Will this work? Oh my goodness. I need to cover the head of that turtle, I guess. Ooh, well, but... Ooh. Oh. Oh. Really? I mean, oh. Oh my goodness, we could also do it like this. Oh. Well, let's decide about that later. I mean, the position of this can be wherever you want, obviously. So then let's throw this out of the way, and let's then first make something here. And for the effect I had here on the page, I have used several different embossing powders and also embossing glaze. Don't run away now. If you don't have the embossing powder, I will show you it now, okay? Because we have different options to reach a similar effect. Obviously, not the same thing like a medium like this can give you, but something similar. I will have a list of alternatives now, okay? So this powder here is by Lindy's Gang, and I will now put a photo of the name into the screen, I think, because I can't read it here, but a second ago I made a photo because, can you see? You can see nothing here because it's so dark, but you can now see the name of this powder on the screen. This powder is a special one because it has some of these thicker particles which are really texture, and you know, can you see that? It's looking like sand, at least in this context, and that is really, really cool. And they are embedded in the rest of the powder. If you don't have such a powder, what you could consider is taking something like this. Perhaps you know these. These are retired embossing powders by Tim Holtz and Ranger. These have also these particles in them which don't melt. So this is a mixture of, I think it's the same thing like here. Or, yeah, the idea behind it is the same. There are particles which melt with your heat tool and some which don't melt. The texture here will not be the same like this. This has way more texture than this, but it could be an alternative to reach such an effect. Another thing could be, take something and put that to your kitchen blender. This originally was something like a dried little flower, like a wood piece stuff, like a little thing. I have put that into my kitchen blender, and then I got this. Such stuff you could also use for embedding in your embossing powder. You could also, where is it now? Use some mica flakes, would also be a possibility. Anything which is like small and which doesn't melt when it gets in contact with heat would work for this idea. Also tiny little beads or so, I could imagine that that could look really nice as well, but I don't have those. So let's do this. Let's start with this stuff here on the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to take this, and now I'm trying to get that along this shape here, which I have from my distress paint. Is that important? No, but I think that looks good. And I try to get first a little line here where the powder is a little thicker, and with dabbing it here, dabbing my finger to the jar, it automatically flies a little bit into this direction and into that direction, so that we have like a line here, but some of the particles go there and there, if that makes sense. And yes, I haven't used any embossing ink or something like that. A second ago I had a little chat with Nuneka, who has sent me this, and she said you need some kind of thicker medium to apply this powder, and I said, ooh, good to know, but I've used nothing, and it still worked, and I will show you how I did that. So we have this here now, and I'm just thinking, is that already good? It's pretty hard to imagine, but I mean how it will come out, but that is also a thing which I think is really, really important, not only regarding junk journaling, but also it's like a general rule in life, isn't it? If you can't imagine the outcome of something, go on and try it, just do it. It's always so easy to say, just do it, but I think it's the only way to experience something great and to experience growth. And I still think, yeah, it's hard to follow such an advice when someone says just do it, but I think it's the only way to grow. Then we have this. It already looks completely different than on my other piece, and I'm just wondering why that is. It's probably because of the paint there, but probably also because I had some white embossing powder here as well, and not only this. But this is really cool, and even without embossing ink, you know, it's on here. Ooh! It's on here, yeah, this came off, but the rest is on here. And this is really textured now and glossy, obviously, which is really nice. I'm just thinking I want to add white here as well, but before I do that, I want to put this powder on this piece as well, so that I have my steps in exactly the same order on the different pieces. So when we have this first round of embossing powder in all of the spots where we want to have it on the page, we can go on with the next. And that's white embossing powder and an embossing glaze. The embossing glaze is translucent, embossing powder is opaque. So that means the color you choose will get mixed visually with what you have underneath. And you have to try that out, please. Yeah. So here I can tell you that this plus this on this page gives us something like this. But since the glaze is translucent, we get a mixture of the color, which is in this case speckled egg, and this. So that means if you have another blue embossing powder used before and then you use speckled egg, it could happen that it turns out differently. And the color of the page also makes it a little different. Yeah, if you, for example, would use the, let's make a really extreme example. If you would use speckled egg on a color like this, it would come out totally different because it's translucent. Yeah, so please try out which color you like the best. So then we take this and now we take white first. I throw this on here, following this shape. And this is pretty much. It's not like, you know, if you would add embossing ink and you would, for example, emboss a stamp impression, then you would have way less of the powder on your paper because the embossing ink would be there, and then you would take the paper and put the rest into the jar, and you would only have on the paper which sticks, the amount of the powder which sticks to the paper. Here in this case it's way more, because I want it to be really white on the one hand, and on the other hand I want to make this flow over the paper. You will see in a second what I mean. And then when I have that, and this is still, you know, on here without heat, I take my embossing glaze, and now I go along this line here where the white ends, and I put the glaze there. Also pretty thick. Please take your time for doing this. It would be good not to breathe or sneeze. Don't laugh, Louise, don't laugh, otherwise you will blow it away. Oh my goodness. So when we have that, we lift this up very carefully, hold this, take the heat tool and start melting this from here. This will take a while because the powder is pretty thick, but just trust the process. Just melt it.
You sat alone where restless waves stamp secrets in the silent sand. Like a quiet turtle tucked inside a shell the world can't understand. Your eyes held the horizon, longing for a place to dream.
Now I'm trying to show you a stage of this where you can start putting the heat tool from here to the thing. I don't know if you can see this here, but it's not completely melted there. But it will not fly away when you put the heat from here on the paper now. And now you can take this and either hold it in the air like so, and with a little, carefully Louise, in a little angle, or you can also try to put it to the table and then blow the heat from here. That also works, but I think it works better when you hold it a little bit like so, and then start melting it from here. And now we need a lot of heat concentrated in one spot, because we want to make these powders move so that we get a really nice wave effect. And my hand is burning in a second. And the rest is going to melt here now, and then it starts moving. And obviously it moves faster and easier when you hold the paper in an angle like so. But I think, even if I really like it, it's not enough powder yet. It's not moving enough for my taste, but that gives us the chance to make this even more interesting. I will put more of the powder here, more of the white on the white, and more of the glaze. So first I'm going to melt it here from the other side of the paper. And let's then trying to move it again. And you can also then, of course, turn the paper into different directions. And why is it now so different than the other thing was? Can we perhaps try to let it move into the other direction as well, so that we have the blue and the white a little more connected? Because now it just looks like a line, and a really weird line. That also, oh yeah, that's the trick. Move it into the different directions and then stop when you are happy with it, because then it also gives a nicer outline somehow, and it's not so straight anymore. Now it looks like this, and I'm really happy with this, but I also want to take the chance, since this is not completely dry yet, cool, I mean, to bring some of these pieces on here. I mean, this is not sticking immediately, you will not burn your fingers. Well, it was already too cool. Okay, that's no problem. Just do it like this, and then heat it up again from the bottom and embed these little pieces there, and then it looks a little bit like sand. Just let it cool for a second, and then we can just remove the pieces which don't want to stick here. Oh, okay, so then later on this piece shall go on here. So I will take this, and now I want to try to do the same thing here with the white and the speckled egg.
I wandered down the shoreline, pockets full of gathered years, like a quiet turtle scared to let love tide drown all my tears. But when our shadows touched that dusk in golden trembling light, we peeked out from our hiding place. The whole sea paused that night. We are Raggedy Turtle Bloom. Ooh, shipwrecked souls that chase the sun. Oh, moving slow with the weathered shells. But now we journey on and on and on. Every page we stitch together, every shell we leave behind. In a world that rushes past us, I found your hand in mine. No storm will ever break apart the bond we made from ruins. We are Raggedy Turtle Bloom, wild and bright, a loving tune.
So then I want to decide for a page where this shall go on, because obviously I only have a single page here now and it's white on the back side, so the easiest way would probably be to just put it to another page. And I've decided for this one here, because this and this is just the perfect match. I will glue that on, and I will also take this to my sewing machine and sew around it. But before I go to my sewing machine, let's decide about this piece, because we can then sew it on in one go. I will cut this a little smaller as well, even if it looks great when it's, you know, this is now obviously wider than this, and that looks really nice. But I want to avoid that this here is too close to the fold of the page. So I will cut that, and then I will sew around it so that this then sits on here like a belly band. Don't leave me alone with my die cut machine for too long. Otherwise, something like this happens. I just went around the page here with my sewing machine, and then I thought something is missing somehow. And I came to the idea to cut out some wildflowers from this set here by Sizzix and Tim Holtz. The number is 661190. But here the stems are overlapping, and I think here something like a little cluster or so would make sense. This postage stamp from the ephemera pack is probably a little bit too big for that thing, or the wrong color. No. In the ephemera pack there are also these circles. This one here would be kind of invisible, but it would work, I think. But yeah, I think I like this even better. Somehow that feels right. What I also thought was, I tried something which wrecked my nerves then, and then I stopped it. I tried to put the digital paper on some puzzle pieces, as you can see here. So these are regular pieces from a puzzle, and then I have put some collage medium on those, put them to the paper, let that dry, and then I've sanded around these. But just don't do it, okay? I mean, if you are the most patient person in this world, then you could try it, but I can't recommend this. It was just such a pain, because it took so long. And, you know, for just these pieces here, it was not, in my eyes, not worth the effort. There are definitely better ways to do something like this, or to get something like this. This is also nice, because, I mean, since I have them now here, why can't I use them? This is not so bad. I like that even better than the round thing, and perhaps we could put something fluffy or so under that. Somehow I like it, but somehow the contrast is not big enough now. Do you know what? Before I decide if I want to put some of this fluff under here, I will glue all of the die cut pieces down so that those can't move anymore, and then we can decide about this little detail. Okay, so here we go. So then shall we, I mean, when it's like so, I like it. But let's see how it looks when there's a little bit of this fluff. Nice, but that's too much. I want to have it like that, but since I need a clamp to glue this down, I first want to decide for a quote here so that I can glue that down without any problems. Let's take At the Edge of the World with You. These quotes are from the soundtrack of the Raggedy Turtle Bloom collection, which you also, I can't cut and talk at the same time, which you also get with your download if you decide for buying one of the Raggedy Turtle Bloom items, either the ephemera pack or the junk journal pages or the kit. I'm searching for just a piece of white paper. The soundtrack is included in all of those items, so no matter for which one you decide, you will get the music additionally to your with your download. Is that English? I don't know. No. Oh my goodness. Please send help. I don't know how many glue oopsies I already had today and in the last few days. It's just incredible. Something is happening here with me. And yeah, so this is part of the lyrics. I really like this in combination with this page, because this, you know, this looks like an edge, obviously, because it is an edge somehow. And shall we take double-sided tape, since this is so hard to glue there? And they are together at the edge of the world. And sometimes I have the feeling that with my choice of doing what I do here, meaning with my choice of canceling my normal job, which I did a few years ago, and doing this, I am also sometimes at the edge of the world. At least it feels like that. Sometimes this job can make you a little bit lonely, I would say. But with you and with all of you out there, it doesn't feel like a negative thing to be at the edge of the world. And that is something I want you to know, because, yeah, oh my goodness, don't cry, Louisa, don't cry. This is a really hard thing for me, because I'm so thankful that all of you are out there, and the song Raggedy Turtle Bloom is not only a love song between a couple, but it's also a love song from me to you. And I have written these lyrics also with you in my mind, because if you wouldn't be there watching these videos and I'm sorry, writing so many nice comments Oh my goodness. Every single time I upload something, then this whole thing wouldn't be possible. And to be honest, there's more than one day in the week where I think I'm at the edge of the world and it feels like it would only need one little push to make me fall off from this edge. But there's always something which holds me back from falling off. And each and every one of you is part of that. And that means the world to me. And that is just so amazing. And I'm really hoping, oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really hoping that you can experience something like that as well. And a love story can also happen between friends. Not only between, you know, a couple who then gets married or so. I mean, then they are friends. They are friends as well. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But this community is just so special. And I'm so, so glad that I can be a part of that. And that I'm allowed to be here and do what I do. So that this is also a symbol for that. This would look really good if this was finished, but I need to punch a hole here, but I think you can imagine how you could use this now. When with this red piece, even the red tag in here would make sense. Or red, you know, this red version of the tags which are available here. Could even fill it up so that only these little things are peeking out there, and then you can still see the turtles, but you have a function of this belly band which can then hold some things for you. I'm really hoping that you like this, and perhaps we will see the next time as well, without crying perhaps, but sometimes you need to cry. I think you will agree when I say that. So I hope you like this, try this out, and let me know what you think about this, or perhaps you found even an easier way to make these waves, or perhaps something which works with totally different mediums or so. Let me know, and see you the next time. No, I can't go yet. I can't go yet. Let's add some white splatters, okay? Because here it looks really naked. Even if we have these tiny pieces here from the embossing powder. I think I need more splatters. I have this really, really diluted white acrylic paint here. In the last video you have already seen me using that. Oh yeah. And that turns out really translucent, so that these don't get too crazily white when they are dry. Now it looks really crazily white, but you know, when it's dry then it's translucent, and then it looks nearly like water bubbles. Okay, now I will say goodbye. See you the next time. Bye.